Your North Node is not just another placement in your birth chart. It's the soul contract you signed before you came here. It's the part of you that feels the most uncomfortable, the most unnatural, yet it's exactly where your greatest power lives. We spend so much of our lives clinging to what feels safe, but that's the patterns of our South Node. But your North Node, that's where you stop repeating cycles, stop playing small, and finally step into the version of you your soul came here to become. In this video, we're diving into each North Node sign to explore the deeper meaning of your North Node sign, the struggles you'll face if you resist it, and the breakthroughs waiting when you finally lean in. So whether you've been wondering why certain struggles keep showing up in your life, or you're ready to unlock the part of you that feels both terrifying and irresistible, this is the roadmap. So grab your birth chart, find the sign your North Node sits in, and let's dive in.
With your North Node in Aries, your healing assignment is learning to stand in your own fire. With your North Node in Aries, your soul signed up to learn what it truly means to claim yourself without apology. This placement is about stepping out of the shadows of others, out of the safety of blending into relationships, dropping the crutches of dependency, and into the raw fire of selfhood. Your Aries North Node is about becoming the pioneer, the risk taker, the one who acts before the crowd gives permission. This is not just about being independent in a surface sense. It's about reprogramming the deepest layers of your soul to stop equating love with approval, safety with compromise, and harmony with self-erasure. Your soul came here to remember that life isn't meant to be filtered through how others see you. It's meant to be ignited by how deeply you are willing to see and choose yourself. This is the lifetime where your courage becomes your compass, and every risk you take to honor your instincts becomes fuel for your growth. This is the archetype of the warrior, the one who doesn't need the group's consensus before moving forward, the one who is willing to risk rejection or even loneliness to live aligned with their own flame. Your deeper purpose is to embody the courage it takes to put yourself first, not in arrogance, but in authenticity. The tension comes from your South Node in Libra. Libra is the archetype of the partner, the harmonizer, the one who feels safest when connected. Libra's comfort zone is togetherness. It's compromise, being liked, smoothing over conflict, and defining yourself through us. In past lifetimes and in early conditioning this lifetime, you've been rewarded for keeping the peace, for considering others before yourself, for being agreeable, likable, and diplomatic. You've been conditioned to believe your worth is reflected in how well you keep others happy, how you manage relationships, or how much you can bend without breaking. This often leaves you second-guessing your instincts, looking to others for direction or waiting for them to move first, saying yes when you mean no, dimming your desires or silencing your anger to avoid conflict, and searching for validation, believing decisions only count if they're co-signed by someone else. The block is subtle but heavy. Every time you avoid conflict or sidestep your truth to protect connection, you move further away from the life your soul is trying to create. Life will continuously throw you into situations where you have to stand alone, make the first move, or risk disappointing someone you love, because that's where your growth lives. You'll notice patterns where relationships challenge you to assert your independence. Careers push you to step into leadership, or friendships test whether you'll keep betraying your needs for acceptance. It might show up as resentment after being overlooked, frustration when you're always the support but never the leader, or loneliness when standing your ground costs you connection. These are not punishments. They're training grounds designed to pull you out of Libra's comfort zone and into Aries' fire, reminding you that being fully alive is more important than being universally approved. To step into your North Node path, you have to practice courage in real time. This means becoming unapologetic about your desires and bold enough to act without needing a second opinion. This alignment isn't about becoming selfish. It's about becoming sovereign. The first step to achieving this is to make desire your compass. Stop asking, "Is this okay?" or "Will they approve?" Instead, pause and ask, "Does this ignite me?" Desire is the raw voice of your North Node. Treat it like sacred instruction, not something to suppress. Next is to practice sacred initiation. Create a ritual where you do one thing every month that scares you, not recklessly, but courageously. Whether it's launching a project, speaking your truth, or traveling solo. Mark each step as a solo ceremony that builds your inner fire. Next is to use embodiment as activation. Aries rules the body. Engage in practices that honor you in your physical presence. So, martial arts, weightlifting, dance, breath work. Each time you move, remind yourself, "My body is my declaration. I am here." Next is to rewrite your relationship contracts. Begin noticing where you've overcompromised. Where do you give up too much to keep peace? Shift the dynamic by practicing micro boundaries. Small but firm acts of self-respect until your nervous system learns that conflict doesn't equal catastrophe. Next is to channel anger into clarity. Anger is sacred fire. Instead of suppressing it, sit with it. Journal. What is my anger protecting? What truth have I silenced? Use that awareness as a compass to realign your choices with your soul's truth. And finally, declare independence energetically. Light a red or white candle and write on paper, "I claim my life as mine. I choose my path even when I walk alone." Burn the paper as a vow to yourself, not against others, but in devotion to your own becoming. A great affirmation for your Aries North Node energy is, I am not here to be chosen. I am here to choose myself first, and everything else falls into place when I do. Let's make this a chart therapy session and share your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, be sure to hit like, send this to your astrology besties, and subscribe so you never miss your cosmic upgrade. And this is just the surface. Let's go all the way in. Details for my digital journals, courses, and one-on-one sessions are linked in the description box below. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. With your North Node in Taurus, you have the healing assignment of learning to root into lasting worth. With your North Node in Taurus, your soul signed up for a lifetime of stability, grounding, and unshakable self-worth. This is not about chasing fireworks or drama. It's about learning the sacred power of steady growth, of building something that lasts, and of knowing that your value does not depend on chaos, crisis, or someone else's validation. The Taurus North Node path is about returning to simplicity. Your soul came here to learn what it feels like to move at your own pace, to savor the present, and to stop equating intensity with importance. Instead of endlessly chasing highs, you're here to cultivate peace that can't be taken away. Think of it as trading a roller coaster for fertile land. You're learning how to plant seeds, nurture them with patience, and trust that they will bear fruit in time. This path also centers on self-worth. Taurus teaches you to stand firm in your value without needing to constantly prove yourself. The invitation is to stop chasing love, money, or success in external extremes, and instead root into the knowing that you are worthy of love, abundance, and ease simply because you exist. Your worth is not conditional, not negotiable, and not dependent on anyone else's approval. In many ways, this North Node is a healing contract with your body and the earth itself. Taurus energy wants you to slow down, breathe, and remember that life is meant to be enjoyed, not just survived. Pleasure, beauty, sensuality, and grounded presence are not luxuries for you. They're a part of your soul's medicine. At its deepest level, Taurus North Node is about learning to create stability that feels like freedom. Building a life, a home, and a sense of self that can weather any storm. Your South Node sits in Scorpio, the energy of intensity, transformation, and constant crisis. This is the karmic pattern your soul is used to, but it can easily trap you if left unchecked. Scorpio South Node carries lifetimes of experience in surviving chaos. You know how to rise from the ashes, navigate betrayal, and face the darkest parts of life head on. But this can also make you addicted to intensity. Instead of choosing peace, you may unconsciously stir conflict or magnetize drama just to feel alive. Quiet, calm, and stability can feel boring or even unsafe. The biggest challenge for Taurus North Node souls is learning to trust safety. When things are calm, you may find yourself waiting for the other shoe to drop. When life feels steady, you might sabotage it, picking fights in relationships, overspending, or attaching to emotional extremes. Because the Scorpio South Node whispers that something is only valuable if it comes with struggle. Another challenge is dependency and entanglement. Scorpio energy is deeply tied to power dynamics, intimacy, and control. You may unconsciously give your power away by relying too much on others emotionally, financially, or even spiritually, getting caught in relationships where intensity replaces true stability. Letting go of these entanglements can feel terrifying, but it's exactly what your soul is asking of you. To step into independence, to define your worth on your own terms, and to learn that love does not require sacrifice of your peace. There's also the challenge to trust. Scorpio South Node carries wounds of betrayal and abandonment, so you may guard yourself by clinging tightly, testing people, or refusing to believe anything can last. These patterns block the very Taurus medicine you came here to embody, which is faith in the present moment, trust in the process, and the ability to allow life to unfold without gripping it too tightly. At its harshest, this placement carries cycles of self-destruction, choosing chaos over calm, intensity over consistency, or toxic bonds over solitude. Your soul growth lives in learning that the quiet life, the life without chaos, doesn't mean you're missing something. It means you finally found the stability your spirit has been craving across lifetimes. With Taurus North Node, your life tends to pull you into themes around security, value, and stability. But before you reach that point, you may experience cycles of Scorpio-style extremes, volatile relationships, financial ups and downs, or periods of transformation that feel like your whole world is being stripped away. This shows up as a pattern of being drawn to intensity. So, romantic partners who feel magnetic but unstable. Jobs that burn you out but make you feel powerful. Or situations where you're constantly in survival mode. You may feel yourself pulled into crisis after crisis, not realizing that your soul is actually using these experiences to teach you how to create peace and self-reliance. You may also struggle with self-worth. Even if you project confidence, deep down, you might measure your value based on how much you give, how much you endure, or how much intensity you can handle. This can lead to overextending in relationships, financial entanglements, or giving your energy to people who drain you, because a part of you unconsciously equates sacrifice with love. At its best, this placement can create someone who builds lasting abundance, strong values, and a sense of inner peace that becomes unshakable. But it requires you to stop chasing what's fleeting and instead anchor into what endures. The medicine of Taurus North Node is to choose peace over drama, stability over intensity, and worthiness over proving. Healing begins when you stop running toward extremes and start trusting that your life is valuable, even when it's quiet. The first step to this is to ground in your body. Your nervous system needs safety. Practices like breath work, mindful eating, yoga, or spending time in nature help you to reconnect to Taurus energy. The earth itself is your teacher. Learn to move at her pace. Next is to build slow, sustainable abundance. Instead of chasing financial highs or depending on others, learn to create stability that grows over time. This isn't about overnight success. It's about building something that lasts and supports you. Next is to redefine intimacy. Let go of relationships rooted in power struggles, secrecy, or emotional turbulence. Choose bonds that are calm, trustworthy, and nourishing, even if they feel unfamiliar at first. Next is to own your worth. You are here to know your value without needing chaos, intensity, or someone else's approval to prove it. Get clear on what matters most to you. When you live from your values instead of survival fear, you stop chasing what drains you. Next is to choose stability over extremes. When faced with a decision, ask, does this path bring lasting peace or just temporary intensity? Choose the one that feels steady. And finally, celebrate simple pleasures. Beauty, art, food, music, and the senses are your soul's medicine. Allow yourself to slow down and enjoy the richness of life without guilt. A great affirmation for your Taurus North Node is, my worth is unshakable. I no longer need chaos to prove my strength. I build a life of peace, stability, and abundance, and in that groundedness, I thrive. Be sure to let me know what part hit home for you in the comments below. And of course, tap that like button, share the vibes, and subscribe so the stars always find you. And your next breakthrough is just one click away. My digital journals, audio guidance, courses, and private sessions are linked below. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. With your North Node in Gemini, you have the healing assignment of learning to trust your voice. When your soul chose Gemini, it signed up for the apprenticeship of presence, dialogue, and curiosity. This is the lifetime where your growth doesn't come from standing on the mountaintop proclaiming truth, which is representative of your Sagittarius South Node, but from stepping into the marketplace, the living room, the coffee shop, the conversation. Gemini asks you to embrace the power of the ordinary as extraordinary, to see that the universe speaks just as loudly through a casual chat with a neighbor as it does through a spiritual text. Your higher calling is to discover that truth is not a final destination or a grand philosophy. It's an ongoing exchange. Truth lives in the questions as much as in the answers. This path is also about reclaiming your voice. In past lives, you may have been the wanderer, the philosopher, the one chasing distant horizons or clinging to an absolute belief. But here, you're asked to stay, to root, to use your words not as weapons of certainty, but as threads of connection. Gemini North Node is about the courage to speak vulnerably, to listen deeply, and to let your voice become a bridge rather than a pulpit. At its core, this placement reveals that your soul's growth depends on the art of dialogue, not only with others, but with life itself. You're here to cultivate the humility of curiosity, the willingness to admit, I don't know, and the joy of being changed by the exchange. This is the lifetime where wisdom is not measured by how far you travel, but how well you learn to truly connect. Your South Node in Sagittarius brings some big challenges to balance, because Sagittarius is the philosopher, the seeker, the teacher. You may resist the idea of being a student. You might carry a belief that you already know what is right, or that truth must be big and absolute. This can keep you from noticing the smaller truths happening in the present moment. At times, you may fall into the trap of thinking wisdom only comes from profound journeys or dramatic revelations, when in fact, your path forward requires you to see wisdom in the everyday interactions, the passing conversations, and the simple exchanges that shape your life. Another challenge is the temptation to escape through adventure, distraction, or always chasing the next big thing. Sagittarius energy in its shadow can make you restless, wanting freedom more than intimacy, answers more than questions, and movement more than stillness. This can look like constantly booking trips, throwing yourself into new experiences, or seeking spiritual highs, yet feeling empty once the rush fades. Instead of rooting into the moment, you may want to run, to leap into the horizon, or to avoid stillness by filling your life with the thrill of expansion. The shadow here is that more never actually satisfies. It only delays the lesson that presence is where truth lives. There can also be a tendency to dismiss the importance of details, gossip, or small talk. Sagittarius often wants to skip the small to get into the big picture. But Gemini reminds you, sometimes the detail is the wisdom. Sometimes what seems like just a story is actually the key to connection. When you brush off the small in pursuit of the grand, you risk missing the thread of intimacy, nuance, or even opportunity that was hidden in plain sight. The challenge is to realize that not every conversation is meaningless chatter. Some are mirrors that reveal where you are, what you believe, and what you need to evolve. You may also struggle with over-preaching instead of listening. Sagittarius South Node energy often wants to share the truth, guide others, and hold the authority of wisdom. But the Gemini North Node asks you to step back, open your ears, and become curious rather than certain. The challenge is to surrender the pedestal of teacher and embrace the humility of student. Not because you lack wisdom, but because your growth depends on remembering that everyone around you has a piece of the puzzle too. Another block can be a subtle arrogance in believing that truth must always be cosmic, dramatic, or universal. This makes you miss the fact that truth is also deeply personal, flexible, and context specific. Gemini teaches that two things can be true at once. Your challenge is to soften the urge to find one absolute answer and instead allow the contradictions of life to exist without collapsing your worldview. At its core, the block is in learning to value the small as much as the big, the here and the now as much as the far-off future, and the question as much as the answer. Until you embrace this, you may find yourself restless, searching, and unsatisfied, always running toward an elusive horizon instead of recognizing that the wisdom you've been chasing was in the conversation right in front of you. Your medicine is to ground into curiosity, presence, and the art of dialogue. The first step to achieving this is to value the conversation itself. Practice listening as deeply as you speak. See every conversation as a chance to grow, not just prove your point. Next is to honor the details. Instead of brushing off the small stuff, treat details like keys that unlock deeper truths. The universe speaks in subtle ways. Next is to learn to be flexible. Resist the urge to cling to one big truth. Let yourself hold multiple perspectives at once. This is where true wisdom emerges. Next is to stay rooted in the present. Bring your energy back from the horizon and into the here and now. Trust that your purpose is unfolding in the moment you're in. Next is to strengthen your voice. Gemini North Node thrives when you write, teach, speak, or share your story. Your words are not just information, they're medicine. And finally, seek community wisdom. Instead of isolating as the teacher, immerse yourself in learning from peers, siblings, neighbors, or circles where ideas flow back and forth. A great affirmation for your Gemini North Node is, I honor the wisdom of the moment. My words carry truth. My curiosity carries magic. And my presence opens the door to connection. Be sure to drop your wow, this is me moment in the comments. I read them all. And if you love this, be sure to hit like, spread the magic, and subscribe so you never miss a planetary truth bomb. And if you're ready to work your chart on a soul deep level, my digital journals, courses, and private sessions are all waiting for you. The links are below. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. With your North Node in Cancer, you have the healing assignment of returning to the wisdom of your heart. With your North Node in Cancer, your soul's higher curriculum is about stepping out of the cold, external definitions of worth and returning to the warm, inner sanctuary of emotional truth. This placement is about relearning what it means to feel safe, not because you've built walls of discipline or achieved worldly recognition, but because you've cultivated an inner home where your heart is allowed to be real. In lifetimes past, through your Capricorn South Node, you became the master builder. You learned how to survive harsh winters, hold responsibility, endure when others collapsed, and measure value by tangible accomplishments. Those skills are still within you. They're part of your soul's DNA. But the deeper truth is that your soul grew tired of the endless climb, of reaching summit after summit, only to find no true nourishment waiting at the top. This lifetime asks you to flip the script, to let tenderness be your teacher. Cancer North Node whispers that emotional openness is not a distraction from your purpose. It is your purpose. It's about becoming fluent in the language of vulnerability, rediscovering the wisdom of intuition, and embracing the cycles of ebb and flow that your Capricorn energy often tries to suppress. At its essence, Cancer North Node is about reclaiming soulful belonging, to no longer see life as a mountain to conquer, but as a hearth to tend. To recognize that being present in love, in family, and the raw intimacy of human connection is not weakness. It's your initiation. It's where your soul grows softer, wiser, and more alive. The challenge here is that your South Node sits in Capricorn. Capricorn's comfort zone is the grind, the climb, the identity built around achievement. You may instinctively measure your worth by external success, by how much you've accomplished, or by how strong and unshakable you appear. This is where the loop begins. You push yourself harder, striving for recognition or control, but no matter how much you achieve, it never feels like enough. And when the pressure builds, emotions can feel messy, inconvenient, or even dangerous. So you tuck them away, convincing yourself you'll deal with them later. But the truth is, this avoidance only deepens the sense of emptiness. At times, you may feel cut off from your own heart, disconnected from intimacy, or fearful of needing others. Self-reliance becomes both your badge of honor and your invisible cage. The deeper challenge is this. Your soul already knows how to endure. What it doesn't yet trust is how to surrender, to release the obsession with control, to open to emotional support, to let love be something you receive instead of something you constantly prove yourself worthy of. This dynamic can show up in countless ways, such as a tendency to overwork or overstructure your life, leaving little room for emotional nourishment. Feeling safe when you're in charge, but deeply uncomfortable when you need to lean on others. attracting relationships where you play the role of a caretaker, leader, or stabilizer, but quietly starving for someone who can see you. Struggling with vulnerability, fearing that if you open your heart, you'll be seen as weak or rejected. As well as believing love must be earned through effort instead of receiving through openness. The loop continues until you realize your soul doesn't want another mountain to climb. It wants a heart to trust, a home, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual, where you are safe simply because you are. Every breakdown, every moment where control slips through your fingers, every relationship that pushes you into emotional depth, it's all training. Training in learning that tenderness doesn't undo you, it saves you. The medicine of Cancer North Node is softness, presence, and emotional authenticity. The first step to achieving this is to let yourself be held. Practice asking for support without apologizing or minimizing your needs. Start small and let receiving feel safe. Next is to honor your inner child. Create daily rituals of comfort and play. Nourish yourself not because you've earned it, but because you deserve it. Next is to feel before you fix. When emotions rise, resist the urge to problem solve. Sit with your feelings. Write them down. Let them move through you without judgment. Next is to redefine success. Instead of measuring yourself by external milestones, ask, did I nurture myself today? Did I open my heart? Did I move with authenticity? Next is to create sacred space. Build environments, physical or emotional, that feel like sanctuary. Your growth happens when you cultivate spaces where you can be raw, messy, and true. And finally, embrace the wisdom of cycles. Cancer is ruled by the moon, reminding you that life ebbs and flows. Trust that retreat, rest, and receptivity are just as productive as action. A great affirmation for your Cancer North Node is, I release the need to prove my worth. My heart is my home, and my tenderness is my greatest strength. It's chart confession time, so be sure to let me know what resonated most for you in the comments. And of course, your 3-second ritual. Like, share, and subscribe to keep this energy coming your way. And you don't have to figure this out alone. Let's go deeper through my courses, digital journals, audio guidance, or a one-on-one with me. All the links are below. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. With your North Node in Leo, you have the healing assignment of learning to take up space. With your North Node in Leo, Your soul signed up to remember what it means to live from the center of your own light. This lifetime is about no longer hiding in the crowd, no longer dimming yourself in the name of harmony, and no longer outsourcing your sense of identity to the approval of others. With your North Node in Leo, your soul came here to learn the sacred art of radiance. This placement is about reclaiming your right to be seen, adored, and celebrated, not as an ego trip, but as a soul contract. You are here to discover what happens when you stop hiding behind collective causes, stop blending into the background, and stop downplaying your brilliance. In past lifetimes, through your Aquarius South Node, you became highly skilled at detachment. You learned how to intellectualize emotions, how to analyze from the sidelines, and how to lose yourself in group identity rather than risk the vulnerability of standing alone. You mastered being the observer, the advisor, the strategist, the revolutionary voice that didn't need the spotlight to influence the room. But this time, your soul chose something far more vulnerable and far more rewarding. It chose Leo, and Leo energy is about embodiment. It is about stepping into the fire of creativity, taking center stage, and allowing yourself to be witnessed in your authenticity. It is about feeling life fully, loving without walls, and knowing that your joy, your art, and your courage are sacred offerings to the collective. The deeper meaning of this placement is that your heart is the gift, not the ideas you produce for others, not the ways you blend into the crowd, not the roles you take to support everyone else, but the unfiltered essence of who you are when you stop hiding. Your very presence is medicine, and until you allow yourself to shine, to play, to love loudly, and to take up unapologetic space, you will feel an aching emptiness that no amount of intellectual brilliance or group belonging can fill. This is why your path feels risky. Leo asks you to move from thinking to being, from the head to the heart, from the safety of the sidelines to the spotlight of self-expression. You are here to learn that taking up space is not arrogance. It's alignment. Your soul doesn't just want you to survive. It wants you to shine. The challenge lies in the comfort zone of Aquarius, and Aquarius prefers to orbit outside the center, to be part of the collective rather than the one who stands apart. That's where the doubt creeps in. What if I take up too much space? What if people think I'm selfish, dramatic, or attention-seeking? What if my heart gets rejected when I finally put it out there? You may default to hiding behind the group, focusing on everyone else's needs, or staying above it all in intellectual detachment instead of allowing yourself to feel. The fear of vulnerability, of being seen in your raw humanity, can keep you small. But the truth is, The universe will keep pushing you into situations where you're asked to risk your heart, your creativity, and your individuality. You'll feel restless or unfulfilled when you stay hidden. Every time you shrink back, life will mirror back that emptiness until you realize you weren't born to disappear into the background. You were born to radiate. This North Node placement often shows up through feeling overlooked or unseen in group dynamics, pushing you to step forward. Overanalyzing how others will perceive you instead of simply creating, loving, and living from the heart. Attracting relationships or friendships where you play the supporting role until you finally claim your own stage. Struggling with the tension between a craving attention, yet fearing judgment. And having powerful creative gifts that only unlock when you give yourself permission to play, perform, or express. The loop continues until you understand it's not vanity to shine. It's alignment. You came here to embody joy, passion, and courage so others could remember their own. The medicine of Leo North Node is courage, self-expression, and heart-led leadership. The first step to achieving this is to own your spotlight. Stop apologizing for being seen. Practice letting yourself be noticed without shrinking. Even in small moments, like speaking up in conversation or dressing in a way that makes you feel bold. Next is to lead with heart, not ego. True Leo energy doesn't come from domination, but from authenticity. When you share your joy and passion, you naturally uplift those around you. Next is to create for the love of it. Write, dance, sing, paint, or build, not for recognition, but because it's how your soul remembers itself. Creativity is not optional for you. It's medicine. Next is to let love be risky. Open your heart fully, even if it means rejection. Love without calculation. Vulnerability is the fire that shapes your courage. Next is to release the group crutch. While community is important, you're not meant to lose yourself in it. Step away from hiding in the collective and embrace your role as a guide, teacher, or performer who stands at the front. And finally, celebrate your inner child. Playfulness is your soul's healing code. Return to the things that lit you up as a child and to watch how that joy magnetizes opportunities, love, and abundance now. A great affirmation for your Leo North Node is, I am not here to fade into the background. I am here to shine boldly, love deeply, and take up space with my whole heart. Did I just read your whole life? Drop a "That's me" below. And of course, be sure to hit like, Send this to your astrology besties and subscribe so you never miss your cosmic upgrade. And let's turn this insight into action. Grab a digital journal, dive into my courses, audio guidance, or book a one-on-one with me. All my links are below. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. With your North Node in Virgo, you have the healing assignment of sacred precision. Having your North Node in Virgo means your soul signed up to master the art of discernment. This lifetime is about learning how to ground your vision into form, to transform chaos into clarity, and to honor these sacred details that bring healing, order, and purpose into the human experience. When your soul chose Virgo, it said, I am ready to refine. I am ready to purify. I am ready to stop chasing the dream of perfection out there and instead cultivate devotion right here. Your South Node in Pisces reveals that in past lives you were a mystic, a dreamer, an empath. You knew how to merge with the divine, to lose yourself in collective emotion, to transcend ordinary life through faith and surrender. And while these gifts are still within you, they can also become an escape hatch, drifting instead of doing, idealizing instead of improving, dissolving instead of discerning. Virgo calls you back to earth. It asks you to take the spiritual sensitivity of Pisces and channel it into service. It asks you to use your hands, your mind, your daily rituals as vehicles for divine expression. The deeper meaning of this placement is that heaven isn't somewhere else. Heaven is built here through your willingness to take responsibility for the little things that add up to transformation. For Virgo North Node, the biggest challenge is learning how to live with reality instead of trying to escape it. The South Node in Pisces carries lifetimes of floating between worlds, which makes this incarnation feel heavier, denser, and more demanding. Virgo asks you to engage with life rather than transcend it, and this can stir up resistance. A core block is the Virgo tendency toward perfectionism. You may feel paralyzed, believing if something isn't flawless, it's worthless. This becomes a trap. Endless revisions, second guessing, or procrastination to avoid imperfection. But your path isn't about being perfect. It's about refining through practice. Your Pisces South Node makes you highly empathetic, but without boundaries, you absorb too much. This can leave you drained, confused, or unable to function in daily life. Instead of facing tasks head-on, you might avoid them altogether through procrastination, escapism, or numbing behaviors. Because Pisces is comfortable in surrender and faith, you may lean on the universe will handle it without following through. While faith is a gift, Virgo North Node requires grounded action. If you lean too far into bypassing, you miss your chance to build the very mastery your soul came here for. Virgo energy wants to help, but the shadow side is losing yourself and rescuing others, confusing compassion with self-sacrifice. The block here is giving so much of your energy away that you never build the structure and discipline to heal your own life. Another challenge is polarity. You may oscillate between chaos, Pisces energy of drifting, disorganized, lost in feelings, and hyper-control, Virgo energy, rigid, self-critical, anxious about details. Neither extreme brings peace. The soul lesson is to balance the two. Virgo's shadow is turning its sharp eye inward. Instead of refinement, you slip into self-punishment. This critical inner voice can keep you stuck in cycles of shame or fear of never being enough, which stalls the progress your soul craves. At its core, the block of this placement is learning to stop escaping and start engaging, to show up consistently for your own healing, to take your sacred sensitivity and shape it into something useful, and to recognize that you don't have to choose between spirit and structure. Your path is where the two meet. The medicine of Virgo North Node is in devotion, refinement, and conscious service. The first step to achieving this is to build sacred routines. Create rituals that honor your mind, body, and spirit daily. Virgo thrives in rhythm and order. It's not about control, it's about devotion. Next is to learn the power of enough. Stop waiting until it's perfect. Virgo isn't about flawless. It's about functional, useful, and healing. Let your work exist in the world, even if it's imperfect. Next is to ground your intuition. Take your spiritual downloads and translate them into practical steps. Ask yourself, how can I embody this truth in daily life? Next is to refine, don't rescue. Support others without dissolving yourself into their problems. Virgo serves by teaching discernment, not by carrying everyone's weight. Next is to heal through service. Your soul feels most alive when you're offering your skills, your wisdom, and your precision in a way that improves life for others. Service isn't sacrifice, it's soul nourishment. And finally, use discernment as a gift, not a weapon. Notice where your critical eye is turned against yourself. Virgo is meant to heal through refinement, not punish through judgment. A great affirmation for your Virgo North Node is, I bring heaven to earth through every choice, every practice, every act of devotion. My details are divine. Was this a mirror moment? Be sure to let me know what came up for you in the comments below. And of course, if this lit you up, hit like, share it with your friends, and subscribe for your next download. And if this resonated, imagine what we can do in a full session. Links to my digital journals, courses, and one-on-ones are below. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. With your North Node in Libra, your soul is learning the sacred art of partnership. Not partnership in the shallow sense of romance, but in the deeper sense of balance, reciprocity, and union. You are here to understand what it means to move through life in harmony with others, to build bridges instead of burning them, to listen as much as you speak, to allow yourself to be shaped by relationship instead of insisting on being untouched. This placement is about evolving from the lone wolf, Aries South Node, into the diplomat, the ally, the one who knows that power is amplified when it is shared. Your path is about discovering the beauty of compromise that does not erase you, but rather reveals a more complete version of you. Libra teaches that true strength is not in domination or independence at all cost, but in the ability to create peace without losing yourself. Your soul signed up to soften, to lay down the sword of me first and embrace the subtle yet profound power of us. This doesn't mean becoming passive. It means recognizing that interdependence is not weakness. It's the essence of love, cooperation, and building a life where mutual respect is the foundation. Your South Node in Aries means you came into this life with strong instincts for independence, self-assertion, and survival. But these gifts can also become blocks if left unchecked. You may struggle to let anyone in. So the idea of depending on another feels dangerous, like it threatens your freedom. So you may push people away before they can get too close. Another way this can show up is conflict as default. Aries energy thrives on raw honesty and confrontation. But without balance, this can tip into unnecessary battles. So you may pick fights, insist on your own way, or have a hard time apologizing. Impatience in relationship is another. So there's a tendency to rush, to demand answers, clarity, or control right away. Relationships, however, ask for patience, listening, and the ability to sit with discomfort instead of forcing outcomes. You may also have the block of fear of vulnerability. So letting someone truly in, allowing them to influence you, support you, or even disagree with you can feel like giving away your power. Yet, this is exactly the doorway to your soul growth. Another is self versus other imbalance. So you may swing between extremes, over focusing on yourself and neglecting others, or over giving to others until you lose yourself. The block here is learning to find the middle ground where me and we coexist. At its heart, your challenge is this: to stop seeing relationships as a battlefield and start seeing them as a mirror. Every person you encounter shows you something about yourself. And every moment you choose connection over isolation, you are walking your North Node path. When you're not consciously walking your North Node path, your Aries South Node patterns can dominate. So you may default to doing everything alone, convinced that no one can meet your standards or move at your pace. So you may refuse help even when you're exhausted. You may also find that you attract conflict-heavy or one-sided dynamics where competition outweighs cooperation. So arguments can erupt easily because compromise feels unnatural. Aries South Node energy keeps you charging ahead, but without balance, you may burn out or sabotage connections by being too forceful. You may also avoid intimacy or deep partnership because you fear it will weaken your independence or make you reliant on others. And you may feel drawn to partners, friends, or coworkers who are combative, bold, or aggressive because that energy feels familiar, even if it doesn't serve you. In short, the Libra North Node journey shows up in the tension between self-sufficiency and the soul's longing for authentic connection. Life will keep sending you relationships, both harmonious and chaotic, until you learn that true partnership strengthens you, not diminishes you. To begin to align with the higher frequency of Libra, the first step is to learn the art of listening. Slow down. Practice truly hearing others without planning your response. Presence itself creates harmony. Next is to choose collaboration. Instead of defaulting to, "I'll do it myself," allow yourself to work with others. Partnership opens doors your independence could never reach. Next is to soften without losing strength. Assertiveness and compromise are not opposites. Learn to stand firm in your values while staying open to another's perspective. Next is to embrace patience in love. Stop rushing or demanding certainty. Let relationships unfold at their own pace. Harmony is built, not forced. Next is to see yourself through the mirror of others. Instead of resisting feedback, let it shape you. Relationships are your spiritual classroom, each one teaching you balance, humility, and grace. And finally, cultivate beauty and peace. Surround yourself with art, harmony, and environments that inspire calm. Libra growth isn't only about people. It's about blending beauty into your life as an act of alignment. A great affirmation for your Libra North Node is, "I honor both myself and others. In partnership, I discover balance, strength, and the wholeness of who I am." Be sure to let me know what part hit home for you in the comments below. And of course, be sure to hit like, send this to your astrology besties, and subscribe so you never miss what's next. And don't just stop at this video. Come work with me. Whether it's a digital journal, an audio drop, or a private session, I've got you covered. All the links are in the description box below. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. When your soul chose Scorpio as your North Node, it signed a contract that said, I will no longer build my worth on what I can cling to. I will allow myself to be undone, remade, and reborn again and again until I know the power that nothing and no one can take away. Scorpio North Node is the soul's descent into the underworld. It's the archetype of death and rebirth, the call to surrender comfort for depth, control for intimacy, and possession for transformation. Where Taurus South Node holds tightly to stability and the known, Scorpio demands that you walk into the unknown, stripped of guarantees, and trust that your soul can never truly lose. The deeper meaning of this placement is that your safety does not live in the external world, not in your bank account, your home, your relationships, or your body's comforts. True safety is inner power, soul trust, and an unshakable bond with the unseen. Your path is not about preserving what is. It's about leaning into what could be, even if it requires letting go of everything familiar. This is the contract of the alchemist. You are here to learn how endings are not failures, but sacred doorways. How vulnerability is not weakness, but the key to intimacy. How loss is not punishment, but an initiation into the deeper treasures of life, which are passion, union, spiritual awakening, and soul truth. The North Node in Scorpio whispers that what dies in your life was never meant to sustain you. Each shedding strips away the illusions of control so you can taste the essence of real power. The power to transform, to merge, to surrender, to rise from ashes untouched by fear. At its highest vibration, this placement calls you to live as a phoenix, not afraid of burning, because you know you were built for rebirth. The challenge here is that your South Node sits in Taurus, and Taurus's comfort zone is predictability. This is where resistance creeps in. You may cling to routines, jobs, relationships, or financial security, even when your soul knows they've expired. You may fear the chaos of change, convincing yourself that stability is safety, even if that stability is suffocating. You may equate your worth with what you've built, earned, or acquired, making it painful to release what no longer serves you. At times, this can make you stubbornly attached to the material world, reluctant to dive into emotional depths or confront shadows. Life, then, will deliver losses, betrayals, or unexpected endings to pry open your grip. not as punishment, but as an initiation. Scorpio energy doesn't ask you to have it all together. It asks you to risk unraveling so that something richer, deeper, and truer can be born in you. The blocks of Taurus South Node are like old armor. It feels protective, but if you never take it off, you never feel the intimacy, passion, or soul-level growth you came here for. This dynamic can reveal itself in countless ways. One is holding on too tightly, staying in jobs, relationships, or environments long past their expiration date because you fear instability. There's also the fear of vulnerability, struggling to share your raw emotions, preferring the control of self-sufficiency over the mess of true intimacy. There's also resistance to endings, clinging to what was instead of allowing yourself to be remade in what's next. This can also bring money or survival fears, defining your safety through income, possessions, or physical comfort, while your soul pushes you toward trust in unseen resources. There's also a magnetism to crisis, experiencing sudden endings, betrayals, or power struggles that force you to let go, evolve, or face truths you tried to avoid. The loop continues until you realize these losses and endings aren't life punishing you. They're life stripping away false security so you can embody real, unshakable power. The medicine of Scorpio North Node is surrender, transformation, and soulful intimacy. To begin to align with this energy, the first step is to release what no longer serves you. Instead of gripping tighter when life shakes, practice loosening your hold. Endings are openings. Every loss creates space for a deeper gain. Next is to embrace vulnerability as strength. Share your truth, even when it feels raw. True intimacy comes when you stop hiding behind the illusion of, "I'm fine." Next is to engage in shadow work. Scorpio thrives in the underworld. Journaling, coaching, or energy healing will help you face what you'd rather bury and turn it into power. Next is to practice energetic merging. Let yourself be transformed through deep bonds, whether with a partner, a community, or spirit itself. Life is teaching you the sacredness of union. Next is to ritualize rebirth. Work with fire, water, or symbolic death rebirth practices to honor your constant cycles of transformation. Celebrate endings as thresholds. And finally, detach from material identity. Anchor your worth not in what you own or control, but in who you become when everything else is stripped away. Build wealth of spirit first, and outer abundance will follow. A great affirmation for your Scorpio North Node is, I trust the transformations shaping me. I release what I've outgrown, knowing that every ending is a beginning into deeper power, intimacy, and truth. Let's make this a chart therapy session and share your thoughts in the comments below. And if your chart's been nodding along, be sure to hit like, share the love, and subscribe so we can do this again. And let's turn this insight into action. Grab a digital journal, dive into my courses, audio guidance, or book a one-on-one with me. All of my links are below. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. With your North Node in Sagittarius, you have the healing assignment of awakening to the bigger truth. Sagittarius North Node is the call to live as a seeker, not a spectator. At a soul level, this placement says, you didn't come here just to read about life. You came here to live it. The deeper invitation is to step out of the comfort of certainty and into the mystery of faith. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion, optimism, and higher truth. With this node, your evolution happens through experiences that enlarge your worldview. Through travel, the study of philosophy, encounters with foreign cultures, or moments that push you to realize there is more to life than the small corner of reality you once clung to. This isn't just about adventure for adventure's sake. Your soul longs to align with a greater meaning that transcends facts, details, and debates. It wants to embody wisdom, not just recite information. You are here to become a bridge between the human and the divine, translating lived experiences into guiding principles that expand not only your life, but the lives of others. Sagittarius North Node is also a destiny of courage. It's about trusting your inner compass when logic runs out, daring to believe in something bigger than yourself, and standing firmly in truths that might make you feel alone at first. You're not here to be endlessly curious. You are here to become a torchbearer of truth, lighting the path for others who are lost in confusion or doubt. The South Node in Gemini often keeps you tangled in patterns of distraction, small talk, and intellectual restlessness. This is the voice inside that says, maybe I need one more piece of information before I move forward. It's the energy of constant questioning, but never allowing yourself to commit to a higher vision. One of the biggest challenges is the fear of faith itself. Gemini likes certainty through facts. It wants proof, receipts, multiple perspectives, and all the fine print. Sagittarius asks you to risk it all on intuition, faith, and conviction. That leap into belief can feel terrifying when you're wired to keep every option open. You may also struggle with self-doubt about your wisdom. You could feel like an imposter when it comes to speaking on bigger truths. convincing yourself you're not ready yet or don't know enough. This is the trap of your Gemini South Node. It keeps you forever preparing, forever collecting, forever learning, but never stepping into the role of teacher, visionary, or guide. Another block comes from restlessness without direction. You might bounce between ideas, relationships, or places, constantly chasing stimulation, but not allowing yourself to stay long enough to gain the deeper meaning. Gemini thrives in the short term. Sagittarius demands long-term vision. The challenge is learning to aim your arrow at one horizon and trust it will lead you where you need to go. And finally, there's the pull of triviality, getting caught in gossip, debates, or overanalyzing small details when your soul is begging you to zoom out and ask, what's the bigger story here? What truth is life asking me to claim? This energy can show up in countless ways. One is becoming the friend who knows everything about everything, but still feels spiritually empty inside. You may constantly change your mind, fleeting between ideas, projects, or relationships, never settling into a bigger vision. You may struggle with restlessness, where you crave adventure but hesitate to step out of your comfort zone. And you may doubt your inner compass, second-guessing your intuition and looking outside of yourself for validation. The loop continues until you recognize that you don't need every answer. You need the courage to follow the truth you already feel burning inside. The medicine of Sagittarius North Node is vision, exploration, and spiritual alignment. The first step to achieving this is to seek wisdom, not trivia. Shift from collecting endless data to asking, what truth does this point me toward? Next is to follow the call to explore. Travel, immerse yourself in new cultures, or dive into a philosophy that stretches your world view. Next is to trust your inner compass. Don't let fear of being wrong paralyze you. Your growth comes through conviction, not perfection. Next is to speak your truth boldly, even if it shakes the room. Share the bigger picture you see. Your voice is meant to inspire, not just inform. Next is to find your teachers and become one. Let mentors guide you. Then step into your own role as a wisdom keeper. And finally, live by a higher code. Create rituals, practices, or beliefs that connect you to faith. Not blind faith, but the trust that the universe expands with you when you dare to leap. A great affirmation for your Sagittarius North Node is, I trust the bigger vision. I am guided by truth, expanded by faith, and free to live beyond limits. Be sure to let me know what part hit home for you in the comments below. And of course, be sure to hit like, send this to your astrology besties, and subscribe so you never miss what's next. And your next breakthrough is just one click away. My digital journals, audio guidance, courses, and private sessions are linked below. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. North Node in Capricorn is the soul's call to step into authority, self-mastery, and long-term legacy building. At its heart, this placement is about learning to trade emotional dependency for emotional sovereignty. Where the Cancer and South Node clings to comfort, familiarity, and nurturing others at the expense of yourself, Capricorn asks you to rise as the builder of your own structure. The deeper meaning here is stepping into your higher parent archetype. Your soul is moving from child to adult, from one who seeks safety in the tribe to one who creates stability for yourself, and often for others too. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which means the lessons aren't fast or easy, but they are meant to carve you into someone unshakable, reliable, and deeply respected. This is a lifetime where you're meant to learn the discipline of boundaries, the strength of accountability, and the fulfillment of walking your own path without relying on approval. The soul lesson is your worth isn't in who cares for you, it's in who you become when you learn to care for yourself first. Capricorn North Node also carries the energy of long-term vision. You're here to build something that lasts, whether it's a career, a body of work, a reputation, or a way of living that inspires others. This placement says, your future self is waiting for you to stop playing small, stop clinging to the past, and start claiming the mountain you were born to climb. The South Node in Cancer can keep you stuck in cycles of emotional reactivity, nostalgia, and overattachment to family, home, or the past. It often manifests as giving away your power in order to feel loved, or avoiding responsibility by hiding in your shell when the world demands you grow. One major block is fear of rejection or abandonment. Cancer energy wants to be needed, to be cared for, to belong. Capricorn demands independence and self-sufficiency, which can feel terrifying when you're wired to look for emotional security in others. You may also struggle with inconsistency, letting moods dictate your productivity. Where Capricorn thrives on structure, Cancer resists it, preferring to move when feelings allow. This can keep you in cycles of procrastination, codependency, or blaming circumstances instead of rising into responsibility. Another challenge is guilt, especially guilt tied to breaking away from family expectations or stepping onto a path that feels different from the one you were raised with. You might fear that success, ambition, or authority will make you seem cold or selfish. This is a distortion of the Cancer South Node, pulling you back into emotional caretaking at the cost of your own evolution. At its root, the challenge of this node is emotional maturity. Learning that self-sufficiency isn't about isolation. It's about inner strength. Your growth comes when you stop trying to be everything for everyone else and instead become the grounded, wise version of yourself that others can lean on. This energy may show up where you feel torn between nurturing others versus building your own path. There may be a deep pull toward family and home life, but an inner restlessness that pushes you toward career and independence. There can be a fear of failure or rejection when stepping into leadership roles. There can be patterns of leaning onto others emotionally, then resenting them when you feel unsupported. There can be difficulty with consistency, moving between emotional tides and the pressure to get it together. It can also bring a sense that your destiny is tied to leaving behind your comfort zone and becoming a figure of strength. The healing journey of the Capricorn North Node is about learning that true safety doesn't come from clinging to what's familiar. It comes from trusting your own strength to create the life you desire. Every step forward is about moving from dependence into sovereignty, from comfort into purpose, from being carried to becoming the one who carries your vision forward. To align with your Capricorn North Node destiny, the first step is to take radical ownership. Own your choices, your path, and your growth. No more waiting for someone else to decide your future. You are the authority. Next is to build the mountain brick by brick. Success here isn't instant. It's about creating lasting results through steady effort, even when progress feels slow. Next is to turn discipline into devotion. Structure and boundaries aren't punishments. They are the sacred practices that keep you aligned with your bigger vision. Next is to redefine what nurturing means. Instead of sacrificing yourself to care for others, learn to nurture by leading with wisdom, guidance, and example. Next is to release guilt about outgrowing the past. You are not abandoning anyone by stepping into your power. Your growth gives others permission to rise too. And finally, claim your legacy. Imagine the mark you want to leave on the world and start living as the person who will leave it. Your purpose is bigger than your comfort zone. A great affirmation for your Capricorn North Node is, I rise into my power with grace. I create stability. I set boundaries. And I build a legacy that reflects my highest truth. Let's make this a chart therapy session and share your thoughts in the comments below. And be sure to give this video a thumbs up, share it with your day ones, and subscribe so the universe keeps us synced. And this is just the surface, so let's go all the way in. Details for my digital journals, courses, and one-on-one sessions are linked below. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. With the North Node in Aquarius, your soul has chosen the path of becoming a visionary architect of the future. This placement says, you're not here to repeat the old cycles of ego-driven power, but to embody a consciousness that is ahead of its time. Your deeper calling is about stepping out of the spotlight where everything revolves around you and instead learning the liberation that comes from being part of something greater. Aquarius is the archetype of the inventor, the rebel, the world changer. And that means your life's purpose is to pioneer new ways of thinking, connecting, and creating. At its essence, Aquarius North Node is about dissolving the illusion that your worth is measured by applause. Your soul is ready to realize that recognition can be fleeting, but what you build with others can echo for generations. You are here to understand that real legacy is collective, not just personal. This is why your journey often pulls you toward communities, networks, causes, or movements where your gifts are amplified when combined with others. You're meant to discover that your individuality shines brightest when it's placed in service to the group, the future, and the higher good of humanity. It's also about embracing detachment, not coldness, but freedom from needing constant approval. Aquarius invites you to step into the role of the truth teller and disruptor, even when your ideas feel too radical, too weird, or ahead of their time. The universe is asking you to trust that you are wired differently on purpose. Your soul didn't come here to fit in. It came to plant seeds of the future. So the deeper meaning of this North Node is this. You are here to be a pulse of evolution, to embody the courage of originality, and to stand as proof that when ego dissolves, the vision of the collective can rise. The challenge lies in your South Node in Leo. Leo's comfort zone is personal expression, creativity, and being the center of attention. While there's power in shining brightly and owning your individuality, this comfort zone can also trap you in patterns of needing approval, validation, or recognition before moving forward. The shadow side of Leo can become hooked on applause, believing that if no one sees or celebrates you, your contribution somehow doesn't matter. This is where struggle can creep in. You may resist surrendering individual glory in order to work with or for the greater good. The idea of blending into the group or letting the spotlight shine elsewhere can feel like a loss of identity, when in truth, it's calling you to evolve beyond ego-driven expression. You may hesitate to detach from ego-based desires, clinging to the need to be the star rather than part of a constellation. This can create tension between your desire to lead visibly versus the soul's invitation to uplift the collective, often in ways that require collaboration, humility, or sharing the stage. At times, you may experience an inner conflict. Part of you craves admiration and personal recognition, while another part longs to contribute to something bigger than yourself. even if your name is not attached to it. Another challenge with Leo's South Node is learning not to equate self-expression with self-worth. You might unconsciously measure your value by how much attention, affection, or recognition you receive. This can lead to cycles of overperforming or chasing external validation rather than trusting the quieter fulfillment that comes from alignment with your purpose. There can also be a tendency to overly personalize everything. With Leo South Node energy, the world can sometimes feel like it revolves around you, even when it doesn't. This might look like taking feedback too personally, interpreting someone else's choices as a reflection of your value, or getting caught in the drama of needing to be noticed. Aquarius North Node asks you to detach, to zoom out, and to see that life isn't always about you. It's about what flows through you to serve something bigger. These blocks are not punishment. They are training. They remind you that your destiny isn't about abandoning self-expression, but about evolving it into something that can spark collective change. The challenge is to realize that your light doesn't dim when shared. It expands. Your path requires you to release the grip of needing to be celebrated individually and to find freedom in knowing that your legacy shines brightest when it helps illuminate the path for everyone. The path forward for Aquarius North Node is learning that true power is not found in being worshipped, but in co-creating a future that wouldn't exist without your input. Your assignment is to become a vessel for collective progress while still bringing your unique light to the table. To align with your destiny, the first step is to redefine success. Instead of chasing personal applause, define success as creating impact that ripples beyond you. Ask, how is the world better because of my presence? Next is to join forces. Surround yourself with communities, networks, and movements that amplify your vision. Collaboration is your currency. Next is to detach from ego recognition. Practice letting go of the need to be seen as the one. You'll discover that your influence often grows most when you're not chasing the spotlight. Next is to be the innovator. Trust your radical, unconventional ideas, even if they're not immediately understood. You're here to birth the future, not recycle the past. Next is to practice humanitarian leadership. Lead not from hierarchy, but from inclusivity. Create space for voices that often go unheard. Your gift is showing people they belong in the new vision. And finally, balance individuality with collectivity. Never abandon your unique shine, but learn to channel it in service of collective growth. You are both the lightning bolt and the grid it lights up. A great affirmation for your Aquarius North Node is, I'm not here to perform for applause. I am here to co-create a future where all can rise. Okay, your turn. Be sure to chat with me in the comments and let me know what resonated with you. And of course, tap that like button, share the vibes, and subscribe so the stars always find you. And your next breakthrough is just one click away. My digital journals, audio guidance, courses, and private sessions are linked below. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. The North Node in Pisces is a soul assignment to step beyond the boundaries of rational thought and into the boundless ocean of spirit. At its core, this path is about remembering that you are more than your mind, your routines, or your to-do list. You are a vessel of divine flow, here to embody the truth that not everything sacred can be explained. With this placement, your soul is moving away from a lifetime of needing everything to be orderly, efficient, and provable, and into a vibration where miracles, synchronicities, and the unseen guide your way. Where Virgo clings to what is measurable, Pisces invites you to surrender into the immeasurable. Pisces energy is infinite, eternal, and non-linear. It cannot be boxed into steps or calculated like an equation. Your higher purpose awakens when you choose to feel rather than dissect, to trust rather than demand proof, to surrender rather than control. The deeper meaning of this path is that your soul came here to dissolve separation, to remember that healing doesn't always come from fixing, organizing, or diagnosing, but from returning to oneness. You are learning that your greatest contribution is not in mending what's broken, but in holding a vision of wholeness that reminds others they were never truly incomplete. Pisces energy teaches that compassion is not a weakness, but a force that can soften even the hardest edges of life. This doesn't mean escaping the world or losing yourself in illusions. Your growth is in learning to blend heaven and earth together, to take the compassion, imagination, and unconditional love of the spiritual realm and infuse it into the messy, imperfect human experience. You are here to show that the sacred lives in ordinary moments. In the quiet download whispered at a red light, in the tears that bring release, in the silence between breaths. The soul contract hidden inside this placement is the realization that your life becomes meaningful when you allow yourself to be guided, not by logic alone, but by something far bigger, which is faith. The deeper meaning here is grace. To trust the unseen, to allow the mystery itself to become medicine, and to live as a reminder that love, in its purest form, requires no proof. Your South Node in Virgo pulls you back into old patterns of micromanagement, criticism, and hyperfixation on flaws, both your own and others. This shows up as perfectionism, as protection, believing that if you get everything right, you'll avoid chaos or loss. Another is overthinking, needing every answer in advance, replaying situations in your mind, or analyzing your intuition until it loses all magic. Judgment and comparison is another, holding yourself or others to impossible standards, which keeps your heart closed. You may also experience fear of surrender, clinging to schedules, routines, and practicality, even when your soul craves freedom and flow. Distrust of spirit is another, feeling skeptical of intuition, creativity, or faith unless there's logical evidence. These blocks are karmic echoes. In past lives, you may have relied heavily on duty, discipline, or being the responsible one. While these skills are useful, they can become cages in this lifetime. Your challenge is to recognize when you are hiding behind order and logic instead of expanding into soul and surrender. Life may place you in situations where your careful plans unravel, where the answer isn't clear, or where you're asked to leap without proof. These moments are not punishments. They're soul tests. They are the curriculum of your North Node. Initiations designed to stretch your faith and open your heart to the unknown. Your soul's medicine lies in learning to dissolve control and live in partnership with the unseen. With Pisces North Node, you're not here to fix, measure, or perfect. You're here to surrender, trust, and channel. The path forward is about opening your heart to currents you can't predict, letting compassion guide your choices, and seeing beauty in what is messy and unplanned. To begin aligning with this energy, the first step is to practice sacred surrender. Create daily rituals where you intentionally release control, whether through meditation or simply saying aloud, "I trust the flow of life." Notice how life begins to respond with synchronicities when you stop gripping so tightly. Next is to follow the invisible threads. Rather than needing every step mapped out, pay attention to subtle signs, intuitive nudges, and coincidences. Your destiny unfolds through these divine breadcrumbs that your logical mind may overlook. Next is to transmute criticism into compassion. Shift from fault-finding into soul-seeing. When your Virgo South Node wants to analyze flaws, pause and ask, what if nothing needs fixing here? Compassion dissolves judgment and aligns you with your higher calling. Next is to channel creativity and spirit. Allow yourself to be a vessel through art, music, writing, or spiritual practices. Pisces energy thrives when expressed, and your creativity becomes a bridge between the invisible and the physical. Next is to lean into mystery as medicine. Instead of fearing uncertainty, treat it as holy ground. Life will bring you experiences where clarity is withheld until you trust. Each leap strengthens your faith and opens new spiritual dimensions. And finally, merge service with soul. Virgo South Node taught you the value of service, but Pisces asks you to elevate it, no longer through self-sacrifice, but through soulful contribution. When you give from a place of overflow and spirit, you become both healer and healed. A great affirmation for your Pisces North Node is, I surrender to the flow of life, trusting that the unseen is guiding me toward grace, miracles, and my highest good. Let's make this a chart therapy session and share your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, give this video some love, share it with your soul tribe, and subscribe for more magic. And this is just the surface. Let's go all the way in. Details for my digital journals, courses, and one-on-one sessions are linked below. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching.